A man seriously hurt after being hit by a car. The charges the driver now faces.
Plus, a Rockford restaurant makes an announcement, the fate of Sunrise Family Restaurant.
And a Belvedere Blood Center reopens after shutting down last year. Why center staff want to remind people of the importance of donating blood.
Live from WTVO 17. This is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Wendell Edwards. We thank you for being here tonight. Tonight at 5, a man is in custody after police say he caused a crash and left a man with serious injuries. This
happened near 7th Street and 12th Avenue last night. Demarius Bullock faces several charges, including aggravated assault. Police say they responded to the intersection to find a 36-year-old man lying in the roadway. He's being treated at a local hospital. Bullock, who remained on the scene, is accused of hitting the victim with his car. He is in the Winnebago County Jail tonight.
Police say a police officer was hurt and is recovering after his car was run into with the patrol unit. Authorities say a car was exiting onto South Alpine from bypass 20 when a car struck the police car early this morning. 3 people, including the officer, were treated for minor injuries. Winnebago County State's Attorney's Office has charged Tracy McClin with DUI for the crash.
Governor Pritzker is speaking out against the deployment of federal troops to Chicago this weekend as part of the federal government's crackdown on illegal immigration.
Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan said they were targeting the worst of the worst criminals. They lied, and they continue to lie. 60% of the individuals that ICE has taken in Illinois this year have no criminal convictions of any kind.
The governor also says deployments in Chicago and other major cities across the U.S. are endangering civilians. He urges all Illinoisans to film agents and ask them for their name and badge number when they see them conducting operations.
Lawmakers have just 2 days to avoid a federal government shutdown. Medicaid funding is the big sticking point for Democrats. This impasse is putting the jobs of roughly 57,000 federal employees in Illinois at risk. For them, the risk goes beyond just a missed paycheck. The president is now threatening to lay off workers instead of furloughing them, meaning some could be out of a job after the shutdown, even if a funding deal is eventually reached.
It is a sign of brinksmanship that for whatever reason, he wanted to elevate the discussion by throwing out the possibility of what are called reductions in force. And the guidance from the Office of Personnel Management at the federal government has issued very specific requirements if the government does choose to do a reduction in force instead of furloughs.
Lawmakers have until midnight Wednesday to pass a budget for a resolution. Republicans are pushing a 7-week spending bill that keeps funding at current levels.
A Rockford restaurant is now out of business. The Sunrise Family Restaurant, located near Mulford and Harrison, is closed. The owner made the announcement on Facebook yesterday, thanking customers for their support over the years and calling the restaurant more than just a business. The Greater Rockford Arab Chamber of Commerce says a new Syrian restaurant will open in its place. In Rock County, Beloit will soon be home to a $20 million warehouse and distribution center. The city and the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation made the announcement today. They say an unnamed developer from Milwaukee plans to build a 200,000 square foot facility in the Gateway Business Park. Officials estimate up to 150 new jobs will be created by the project over the next decade. Construction is set to begin sometime next month.
A blood center in Boone County has reopened after shutting down for more than a year. The Rock River Valley Blood Center is welcoming donors to the Belvedere location once again. The site opened firstly in 2009, but was forced to close last year due to staffing issues. But a celebration took place at the center today for the reopening. People were able to tour the space, meet with center staff, and hear about the importance of donating blood.
Well, there is no substitute for blood, and it is a real fear that if a hospital has a catastrophic injury, that if blood isn't on the shelf, someone could die. So we are the sole supplier to 14 hospitals right here in our community, so the blood that you donate here stays here for local use first.
So people who gave blood today were given free donuts from Edwards Apple Orchard, and the first 5 donors also received a gift card to Edwards.
This week, Rockford Public Schools is inviting students and families to participate in the district's search for its next superintendent. Tomorrow begins the community voice portion of the process to find a replacement for Superintendent Dr. Aaron Jarrett. Jarrett will step down at the end of the school year to become superintendent at Hononegah. Applications for the position are being accepted until the end of the month. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., families of students can attend informational meetings at Auburn, East, Guilford, and Jefferson high schools. An online Zoom session will also be held tomorrow morning at 11:45. East and Guilford will hold additional meetings Wednesday night. The community engagement survey will remain open until Thursday.
Drivers along I-90 have more construction impacting their route. Starting today, lanes heading east are being closed over the Kishwaukee River right before the interchange with I-39. So traffic is reduced to only 2 lanes to make room for bridge repairs. Warning signs are in place for drivers, but traffic is expected to remain in this configuration through the end of the week. Next month, there will be lane closures heading west along I-90. Gas prices in the Rockford area are down by more than 3 cents per gallon this week, according to Gas Buddy. The average cost now $3.11 per gallon. The cost also decreased nationally. Experts expect this to continue in the coming months. You can find a map of most stations in the area and the prices on our website, mystateline.com.
A new bus route will connect the Forest City to Colorado. Greyhound's new Chicago to Denver route began yesterday. Daily service starts in Chicago and stops at Rockford's Eastside Transfer Center. Additional stops include Moline and cities across Iowa and Nebraska before reaching Denver. Greyhound offers 1 round trip daily. They plan on adding additional stops along the route in the coming weeks. The White House announces a major development in peace talks in the war in Gaza.
When we return, the details of the meeting between the president and Benjamin Netanyahu.
And coming up tonight at 6, October is National Audiology Awareness Month. The number of Americans affected by hearing loss and how to prevent it.
Temperatures this morning started off in the low 50s, but we gained quite a bit of ground this afternoon thanks to the sunny skies and dry air, coming close to 90 degrees today. Find out how long we can hang on to that warmth and if we could come close to 90 again. All in the forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Mimi Murphy, Wendell Edwards, Sports Director Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
President Trump and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agree on a plan to end the war in Gaza.
The question now, will Hamas accept their terms? Patrick Elwood has the details.
It has been almost 2 years since the start of the war. Since then, a peace deal has been out of reach. But today at the White House, President Trump and visiting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announcing a 20-point peace plan.
I challenge the Palestinians to take responsibility for their destiny, because that's what we're giving them. We're giving them responsibility for their destiny.
While Israel has agreed to this, Hamas leadership has yet to sign off on it. Qatar is going to act as an intermediary on behalf of Hamas.
Your plan is consistent with the 5 principles my government set for the end of the war and the day after.
And if Hamas signs off, provisions of the 20-point plan include that the war will end immediately. President Trump's economic plan will include a panel of experts to create jobs, opportunity, and hope for the future of Gaza. No one will be forced to leave Gaza. The U.S. will establish a dialogue between Israel and the Palestinians to agree on a peaceful and prosperous coexistence in the years moving forward. The plan also establishes what will be called a Board of Peace, with Trump chairing it. It will also include former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. The Associated Press puts the number of civilians killed in Gaza at over 66,000, with many of those being women and children.
Working with the World Bank and others, it will be responsible for recruiting and training a new government that will be made up of Palestinians along with highly qualified experts from all around the world. Hamas and other terrorist factions will play no role in the board, but they'll play no role in the governance of Gaza at all.
All our hostages, both those who are alive and those who died, all of them will return home immediately. Hamas will be disarmed. Gaza will be demilitarized. Israel will retain security responsibility, including a security perimeter for the foreseeable future.
That was Patrick Elmwood reporting. Still pretty hot across the state line tonight.
When we come back, Candace tells us if we can expect any fall-like temperatures this week. Her full forecast coming up next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, temperatures across the area warming into the upper 80s, even a couple of spots reaching that 90-degree mark, the low 90s in a few spots. You can really see that heat building across much of the Midwest. Same thing across the Great Lakes as we sit at 87 right now in Rockford, Rochelle, 88 in Freeport, 90 in Dixon, 88 in Janesville, and 86 our current temperature in Poplar Grove. Plenty of sunshine. In fact, as far as the eye can see, we've got blue sky, and that'll mean a mostly clear sky going through the night tonight. As the sun sets in just a couple of hours, you'll notice again a little more of that hazy look to it, and then a hazy look to the sunrise tomorrow. 89 for our weather watcher Terry down in Genoa, dew point temperature at 56, and that's part of the reason why we've been able to gain such immense ground from where we start off at in the morning in those low to mid 50s to where we end up at in the afternoon in the 80s because of that dry air, and we just warm much more efficiently from that. A light northerly wind at 2 miles per hour. Our weather watcher Kevin out in Lena checking in this last hour at 86, and look at that dew point 52, a light southwesterly wind at 7 miles per hour. That above average stretch of weather continues not only for today, but the last 3 days we've had temperatures in the 80s, and even stretching back another week and a half ago. Notice that warmth sticking around, and our 80-degree weather, well, that's not going anywhere anytime soon, and we could be back close to 90 again by the time we get into the weekend. The dip in temperatures on Wednesday coming from a little more cloud cover. We might try to see a cold front work through. Very, very small chance for that, for some precipitation coming in early next week, but we'll kind of keep our fingers crossed that at least we can get some rain coming in. Otherwise, things are looking to stay pretty dry, at least for the next week and a half. Part of the reason why we've been dealing with such warm temperatures and kind of this stagnant weather pattern, we've got 2 tropical systems out over the Atlantic. While these are not going to make landfall, they're across the lower 48 in the southeast. They're going to kind of hook back out to the east thanks to what we've got going on in the upper levels to kind of help steer them back out over the ocean. But what it's doing is it's backing things up in our jet stream and creating this ridge of high pressure to build across the Great Lakes, across the Midwest, and bringing us a lot of that warmth. So as these systems kind of lose a little of their grip and move back out to the east, that high pressure ridge eventually begins to weaken and kind of shifts a little bit and flattens out as we head towards the middle to end of the week. But it does look to kind of build right back up once we get into the weekend. We've got a few more clouds that may come in, and that's really it. That's all we got to talk about this week. Just a little cloud cover. That may be a bit more on Wednesday, so that could shave a few degrees off that temperature. Same thing with an easterly wind tomorrow, but I think we still stay in the 80s during that stretch of time. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we get much rainfall. As I mentioned, as that pattern starts to break down early next week, there's a cold front that tries to come through. That could bring us some rainfall during that Monday, Tuesday time frame. But at this point, I'd only put that at roughly about a 10 to 20% chance. Now, there are some signs that that pattern might start to break a little bit, and we could see a little more rainfall coming in, but just not anything, at least in the short term, that could take us through the first week or so there of October. 55, that's where we'll head for tonight. You've got a little patchy ground fog. At least the nice thing with this, we've been able to really cool off. So if you leave your windows open during the day, it does get a bit cooler there at night and kind of feels comfortable in the morning. 85 for tomorrow afternoon. We're back into the 80s then as we head into the weekend.
Thank you, Candace.
Scott's next with sports.
We'll have the big news of the day for the Cubs as they get set for playoff action tomorrow.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
It's a great week for some playoff baseball, and Chicago will have some on the north side with the Cubs hosting the Padres in a best-of-3 wild card series. Game 1 will be tomorrow afternoon. And we found out today who the Cubs starting pitcher will be. He's veteran Matthew Boyd. He made 3 playoff appearances last year with Cleveland, and he performed well. The Padres are going with 13-game winner Nick Pivetta. And several of the Cubs are hot going into the playoffs, none hotter than Seiya Suzuki. He has 5 homers in his last 4 games, and that has the Cubs upbeat.
It's fun to watch. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, one of the most beautiful right-handed swings in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a great sight just seeing him get back in rhythm, seeing him just kind of exude some confidence and, be the player that we all know that he is.
So we've got Game 1 tomorrow afternoon, Game 2 Wednesday afternoon, and Game 3, if needed, Thursday afternoon. All of them will be shown here on WTVO. All of them will start at 2 o'clock. Well, the Packers game last night in Dallas falls under the how did that almost happen category. How did Jordan Love and the Packers almost let the final second tick off the clock before attempting a game-tying field goal? They were that close to a loss instead of a tie. Well, Micah Parsons wasn't happy about leaving Dallas with a tie.
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm pissed off, I'm very disappointed on just overall how we performed. I just don't think we've been putting our best film out, and we just got to get better.
The Bears could not be happier heading into their bye week with a second straight win, a comeback against the Raiders yesterday that was made possible by Josh Blackwell blocking a Raiders field goal attempt with 33 seconds to play.
Out-of-body experience, I was just too excited. I just took off right on the field. So, again, I think it's just a testament to the team that we have. Really, I think everybody has belief, and I don't think there was any doubt in anybody's mind in that moment. I think we just got to go out there and just, execute, and that's what we did.
Obviously, you can hear him kick, and you're trying to figure out where the ball went. I ended up seeing the ball, skirt out, only 15 yards or so, and those are moments that you wish for, that we train for.
Well, training camp is underway for the Ice Hogs. They hit the ice this morning for their second practice at the BMO. Some familiar veterans are back with the team, and we'll catch up with a couple of them at 6 o'clock. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Our first Warning Interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Glass and More stays pretty quiet and dry the next several days. Temperatures tonight will dip down into the 50s. We'll make it up to 85 tomorrow. We add in a few more clouds on Wednesday. We'll keep at those 80s through the weekend.
Thank you, Candace.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you at 6.